What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Culture 316. I'm one of your hosts and producers, Jordan Nahisi.
And I am your co-host, Mo. What is up, people?
And coming
Oh,
back once. Oh, yeah, you got to go. You got to introduce yourself, Brody.
I am 1/3 of the beige clique here, as you see. There's a whole lot of light skinned people on this podcast, so
That's a whole lot of beige, khaki colored love on this podcast.
yeah, just as the
Um,
'80s will be over, even more.
oh, not the 80s will be over. But thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. Just to give y'all a little announcement, Banks is officially a Culture 316 contributor, so he'll be popping by once in a blue moon here and there. And also, our first 316 space of the year is this Saturday. We're going to be watching the Royal Rumble together, so be sure to tap in with us over on our Twitter. We're going to be starting at what time's the show start? Main card starts at 8, so I would say about like 6:45 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be starting the show that Saturday, January 28th. So watch the Royal Rumble with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know how these 316 spaces can get. And also, once again, it is also our 5th year anniversary, which we'll be celebrating all year long. So be sure to keep in touch with everything Culture 316 because we have some amazing stuff coming this year. But without further ado, we're going to kick off the show. So, WWE has finally unveiled the details regarding its upcoming video game, WWE 2K23, and the cover star is none other than 16-time world champion John Cena.
The
His
GOAT.
the GOAT. All right. Apparently, the WWE 2K23 has 3 editions. It has actually 4. It has the standard edition, the cross-gen edition, the icon edition, and the deluxe edition. And if you pre-order prior to March 16th, you'll be able to have Bad Bunny as a playable character. That's not all. WWE is also having some new releases. They're bringing back GM mode, and they are also introducing some new match types, including a fan favorite in War Games. So based on what y'all have seen with WWE 2K23 and the details surrounding it, what are your impressions on the game and how excited are you guys for WWE 2K23?
Me personally, I definitely want it. Like, I haven't bought a WWE game since W13, the one that had Punk on the cover. I have not bought a single one because it just was all ass, all repetitive. The graphics look like shit. The last game, I mean, they upped it a little bit, but it wasn't enough for me to want to invest in it after the whole 2K20 chaos. But after hearing all that and the fact that War Games is going to be a playable feature, that makes me excited. The GM mode, I haven't played a fucking GM mode since like what 08 had that feature, so that I'm excited about. But I see a lot of discourse about the whole John Cena thing with him being on the cover. I don't really see anything wrong with it because I mean, if I was thinking about how did I want to bring this game back after all the chaos that happened over the last 2 years, wouldn't you want to put someone on the front that's going to, make even people who stopped playing WWE games a while ago or stopped watching the show actually buy it? Like, oh, John Cena's still around. Like, let me see like what this is about. You know what I mean? Because then they try that same tactic with Rey Mysterio and it still kind of worked. So I feel like you kind of can't go wrong with John. But I do feel like if they wanted to give someone else a chance to have the cover, it should have been Bianca because I felt like it's been her year since WrestleMania. Maybe before that, but I feel like she's just been on a good run and she's like the equivalent of John Cena. So I'm like, why couldn't they both have shared the cover? That's just me. But what do you guys think about it? Thanks.
No, you're right, because 2K Games did this with NBA 2K23 when they put Devin Booker on the standard cover and then they put Jordan on the last 2 covers. So I agree with you on that with Bianca, but trust me, she gonna get her turn. She definitely gonna get her turn more than likely next year. It's plain and simple with me. I see John Cena, I'm about to buy it. That's it. That's the GOAT. And this is coming from a dirt under your nails type dude. Like I watch XPW. Yeah, XPW is back, people. You can watch it $5 on UPN right now. Uh,
That's cool.
so John Cena is my GOAT besides Eddie Guerrero. That's a whole different conversation for another day. So no, that's it. So I'm spending 120. Well, Actually, I got a way to get it for less than 120, but I'm gonna get that legendary edition.
Mm.
That's a fact.
I wanted to
Jordan?
piggyback off of what Banks said because he's right. John Cena, you see John Cena on the cover, you're going to buy it. And if you look at the buildup around this video game release and you look at the trailer, you got Bianca Belair in the trailer, you got Austin Theory in the trailer, but you also have Logan Paul, Triple H, Bad Bunny, and the first people that you see, I think, is between John Cena, Logan Paul, and Bad Bunny and Triple H. So right off the bat, this is one of those things where you can just know, you can tell that they're trying to get your bread. They're going to put in their superstars, the most marketable superstars, but this is one of those things where they are trying to get your bread. I think that ever since the 2K20 video game fiasco that a lot of people had troubles with because they didn't like the product ultimately, I think that because of that, ever since then, they've been trying to put more palatable superstars on the cover, people that they know will sell the game before the game is sold. That's the reason why they had Rey Mysterio last year. That's the reason why I believe that John Cena is here this year. They're going to get two covers with two guys that have traditionally sold in every aspect of WWE. Um, I do believe that Bianca Belair should be a cover star, like you said, Mo. However, I do believe, like Banks said, she's going to get her turn. Um, Bianca has her hands full already between her being the Raw Women's Champion, her being the number one babyface on Raw, her having the reality show with Montez Ford. So she has a lot going on. And I think that if it pertains to Bianca having a cover, it's never a matter of if, but rather a matter of when. And the War Games match, I'm very, 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 very excited for, as well as the new GM mode. I'm just very, very excited to get my hands on this game. I was gonna also say this is just a little side question. Which are y'all excited for more? WWE 2K23 or AEW Fight Forever, or both?
Honestly, I'm excited for both, and I actually want to buy both and just like test it out. I don't expect that the AEW game is going to be as good as WWE, just because I mean you kind of have to just go through that demo era, when you first create a video game. But I feel like it's still going to be fun. It's going to be something new. It's going to be something fresh. But I do feel like they're putting a lot more effort with this 2K game, and it's going to be a lot more promising than in the previous years. I mean, especially with the way that they're promoting the shit out of this, I feel like it just has to be good. And especially again, knowing that they're having competition and the games are releasing at the same year. So that's just what I think. How about you guys?
I think the AEW game for me, because I'm an Xbox user, I understand the winning side. I think it's supposed to be on Game Pass, and that's the only way you're gonna get me to pay for it. Game Pass is $1 if you use your email every month, a different email. I'll just say that. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay that $14.99. But unless it's on Game Pass or
How
they
many
giving it
emails do you
away
have?
a lot. What 21 Savage said, complex artist of the year.
A lot.
Yeah, I had to do that facial expression. That's the only one I could think of at that moment. Yeah, a lot.
Go on.
They don't know shit about rap music. Anyhow, so yeah, unless it's on Game Pass or I can get it at Zaxby's via giveaway. That's the only way. I'm not paying no $70 for that.
Mm. I
And
I
then
agree with Mo. I'm the $70 is crazy, but I agree with Mo. I'm excited for
that's how
both
much they
games.
cost.
And when you think about it, it's crazy. That's just OD. But I am excited for both. I would love to get my hands on both. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Cody is in 2K23 versus how Cody is in AEW Fight Forever, because I do believe that he is in both of those games. So I'm very, very eager to see how his character differs in both games. That man about to get double the checks. I'm happy for Cody.
That's
I'm
I
crazy. I wonder
hope
if
happy.
they're gonna be
so.
petty about taking away like how glamorous his entrance is, because you know how this man used to steal the whole entire pyro budget of his entrance. I wonder
Well,
if they're gonna say
now
fuck him.
now, like, because they have a new set, how is his entrance gonna look? Is the new set gonna be in the game? Is you know what I mean? Like,
Bro, they've been talking about
uh,
this game for 2 years. They ain't updating nothing.
nothing.
They ain't updating to nothing. Boy, they might have Marco Stun is still in the game. And I ain't
You
seen
know
Marco
Marco
Stun in 2
Stunt.
years.
Marco Stunt was an AEW Dark All Star at a point, so I wouldn't be
Hey, all
surprised
the
if
fans, we need to book a match. Marco Stunt versus Mo.
that would be.
Excuse me?
Ma-
Yeah,
He's
Marco.
like what, 4'11" or something?
That's
I
on a
think
step
4'10",
ladder
4'11".
match.
Step ladder
Yeah, like what?
match.
That's would you say a step ladder match?
Step
This is
ladder
why we
match.
be
I don't
beefing,
know.
bro. That's exactly why we be beefing. He be coming out with the short jokes, the midget jokes. He just showed me the other day that he's gonna put me in the midget wrestling. What's the name of that promotion?
Fun.
Well, that's
What
a
was it?
triggering word, but short people leagues.
I'm not short. 5'3" is fairly tall in my
What is
head,
No,
in
the
my
midget
you'll be the
wrestling?
Andre the Giant over there.
I am. I would be. But
I'm
yes,
I'm
go
trying to
on.
find. I'm trying to find the name of the Micromania midget. Nah,
Yes,
let me
that
see this.
shit. He keeps sending me that shit.
Micromania is crazy, but we're not
And
trying
they
to.
got the
I'm not
mini
trying.
games in the AEW game too. So there you go.
That's wild. That's
Put Adam Cole in it. Put Marco Stunt.
oh yeah, period.
Everybody over there short. So everybody, MJF.
MJF ain't short, is he? Is he short?
Yeah,
I
that
don't
boy
know.
about 5'6".
Oh,
That would be.
That's why he
That
got
would
an
be.
attitude all the time.
well.
That's a banger. But we want to know how y'all feel about 2K23. What y'all looking forward to, and all that good stuff. But we are gonna move on because this past Monday, my opinion, I believe it was the best Raw that I've ever watched in my entire life. But Monday,
Controversial.
WWE celebrated the 30th anniversary of Raw live from Philly with a 3-hour show, and it had a lot of memorable moments. I just wanted to know what were some of y'all memorable moments of the night as it pertained to Raw's 30. What were some of your most memorable moments that you got away from that show?
Oh, I was not expecting that Bloodline segment to be that good. That had my full attention. Like honestly, I know a lot of people are mad that it kind of ate into like the women's, but it had all my attention. That shit was so funny. Like Paul Heyman is a character, bro. He is so petty. He is so petty. He was calling out Sammy for like the littlest things. Like, what are you throwing up 4 fingers for? Like this is the NWO. He started calling him out because he bumped shoulders with him, saying like he was like a high school bully. And like the segment itself, like it had like this little itty bits of like little plot twists in there. Like I was not expecting one of the Usos to actually stand up for Sammy. That I did not see coming. Cause I was like, all right, how's Roman going to like react to this? Is he going to feel like he's like choosing a side or whatnot? Like there's a whole bunch of oh shit moments where I just didn't know where this was going to lead to. But honestly, I was getting a little bit bored with the bloodline, but that segment alone made me excited again to see like how they're going to plan this out going towards Mania. So that was one thing that I liked. I thought the DX segment was boring. What pissed me off the most above anything was that they bought out Teddy Long and they didn't utilize Teddy Long the proper way. How do you have the Undertaker come back and Teddy Long and you don't set him up, not a single person to go up against the Undertaker? Like, even if someone wasn't watching WWE, you could have got a huge meme pop. Like, WWE loves posting like gifs and memes on their fucking Twitter page and their Instagram page. That would have been a perfect chance to just use Teddy Long as a fucking meme, and they should have called him out when they're trying to find a proper opponent to go up against Gunther. That was such a missed opportunity for me. But was I happy to see Teddy Long? Of course, duh. I was happy to see Taker come back, looking like Taker, but in one of my favorite forms of him, being like the motorcycle guy. And it was good in the first 2 hours. The last hour kind of went a little bit dry for me, but yeah, I think that had to be like my 2 to 3 favorite segments out of the show. What did you guys think about it?
Best WWE show in years. I'm not joking, y'all. I got an extensive memory, hence the reason why I have a big forehead and no hairline. I'm,
That's true.
Xavier, Professor Xavier. So it's a lot of memory that goes through here because the hair follicles are dead. Best WWE show in years. Best wrestling show of the year thus far, and we only in January. I loved everything. The Bloodline storyline was hilarious. First of all, Jay calling Roman Reigns his OG is hilarious because it's like, dog, like y'all about the same age. Y'all about the same age, if not like a year older than him, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like the fact he's like, hey, OG, like that's always hilarious to me when he say that.
Right.
Like Mo said, yeah, they could have did the whole thing with one on one with the Undertaker. They could have did that, but it was still fire to see the tag. The best thing about it was Kurt Angle coming out with DX and he couldn't put his hands all the way up. He looked like a toddler falling out of bed because his body's so stiff. He was just like this the whole time, trying to do the DX shot. The man looking robot arms, bro, Mr. Mugato. So
I'm weak. Is it my turn?
Yes, it
Um,
is.
so I liked all the things that y'all touched on. The bloodline trial was absolute cinema. Um, but I think that my moment of the night for me was 100% Taker passing the torch to Bray Wyatt. It felt like a
mm,
torch passing moment, because obviously Taker comes out, he does his choke slam, he does his tombstone, and he could have done it at that moment. That could have been an easy up and down, but it was just like him taking LA Knight by his neck and just passing it to Bray. It just felt like, nah, you got this, bro. Like, this is all you now. And I also like the fact that he came back as the American Badass, because I feel like when Taker's streak was broken, he was humanized. And I feel like everybody just kind of knows that Taker's retired. So this is the most human version of the Undertaker that's believable, that American Badass gimmick. So I just like the fact that he came back as that gimmick. Um, I, yeah, that was probably my moment of the night. That Bray Wyatt essentially just having the moment that I think was supposed to happen at WrestleMania 31. I think that was easily the moment of the night for me. It was interesting to see the that even though like the bloodline segment went over into like the women's segment, I thought it was worth it. But I was gonna say there were a lot of people online that were mad about it. They were like, women's wrestling wasn't highlighted the way that it was supposed to be on Raw is 30. I don't know if any of y'all saw that. Do y'all agree with that? Is that something that, because that was something that
I'll
was
be
a hot
honest, this is
topic,
so
was
fucked up. I didn't notice it until I went on Twitter. And then I saw everyone complaining about it, and they put the hashtag that the women deserve better. I'm like, damn, am I a horrible woman? Because I didn't even peep that. Like, in my head, this show was actually fun. And I'm like, well, isn't that what matters the most? But then I understood their point of view because they advertised it with Trish in there and a few other classic divas in there. So I think that the diva stands and all of them were expecting to see that. But at the same time, I see both sides. I honestly was fine doing without because I kind of got adjusted to how most of the women's segments kind of been as. The only thing I was mad about was Becky versus Bianca being cock teased in my face, and then literally they didn't get to fight. They just had them jump Becky. Was it good for like building their characters? I guess yeah, but in my head, if you wanted to make up for not having any female veterans there, you could have gave me a Lita versus Victoria like steel cage match between those two, and I would have been fine because I know the connection right there, and they could have referenced that on commentary, and I would have been more than happy if they let them go on for 20-30 minutes, you know. And then what they had that and a segment with Bianca, was it Bianca versus Sonya, and then something with Alexa in there. I didn't watch the
it was
last
beyond,
hour
yeah.
because if I see Alexa, I turn my
Charlotte.
screen off. Y'all know this. But yeah, I see both sides to it because I mean, don't advertise them if you don't plan on bringing them at all. Like they advertised it like the day of the show, and you see Trish right there. There's a lot of Trish stands. I'll never get tired of seeing her. I'm fine without seeing her unless she's actually legitimately going to be set up, with another talent. But the only talent I cared about at this time was Sasha, and I'm never getting that back ever again. So that being said, I was fine without it. I think people could have chilled out. I mean, there's always another Raw down the line for them to invite them back. But I'm a little bit over seeing Trish and Lita. I think we were spoiled a little bit last year when we got to see an actual feud between Lita and Becky. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm kind of okay, more or less. But were you guys bothered by it, or you were just like, all right, I seen a good show. What do you think?
I'm from the era where in the beginning of the prompt for Ruthless Aggression Raw, they had a woman being thrown, being Tori Wilson into the mud. So it's like y'all upset now, boy. y'all young people that be doing all these Twitters, and I don't mean to sound that old, but I'm older than them. Yeah, 20 years ago, women's wrestling was not that prominent. So
Mm,
y'all complaining about the segment. Y'all would have been upset back in the day. And y'all definitely would have been upset if y'all seen Edge and Lita having sex on TV. So,
mm,
and it's not to say face with WWE. It's just, I mean, it is what it is. They have segments that they push, and I mean, they gave us a potential, teaser maybe with Charlotte and Bianca talking from a couple years ago, and then they brought it here. Long term booking, as they say. So, you can't have everything, but I want everything. So if we get a match out of that, then that's great, and that's what I'd rather see at WrestleMania anyway. But
mm. Personally, I was on the fence. I definitely would have preferred to see more women's wrestling. Obviously, like the Bailey and Becky match. So many B's. The Bailey Becky match, the steel cage match was
triple
something that I was
B's.
looking forward to. But I feel like this was one of those times where what they did kind of on the fly, I think was perfect because I think that it's going to lead to something bigger down the line. And if that was a potential way of setting up something bigger down the line, then I'm okay with that. Um, as far as the Charlotte, Bianca interaction, definitely something exciting. And I also just feel like when it comes to like there was a lot of like talking about like the Bella twins because they went on live and they were saying like, they felt like Sasha that wasn't being showed enough in the video packages, and they weren't. They tried to go to Raw and they had nothing for them, and like all these reports are being thrown around, but it's like I don't know. Like I think that when like Banks said, you can't have everything. And I feel like there was so many good things that were happening in that show. And while we should always strive for, representation and inclusion, it's just like there was a flow there. That bloodline segment that I guess bit into the steel cage match was absolute gold. That's gonna go down as one of the Raw's best segments ever. So it's like you gotta be like, almost like a trade in. You know what I mean? You can't have it all. So what should you rather have? And they went with that bloodline segment. And I think that they made the right choice. But however, I do would love to see the things that were supposed to happen and represented at Raw 30 being showcased in a bigger manner. And to be honest, they have an opportunity to do that at the Royal Rumble with the surprise returns, with the in-ring references that they may do. So they still have that opportunity to do something special for women's wrestling on a bigger stage than Raw's 30. So that's just like my little take about it. But um,
Boy,
yeah,
I know
that's
why
my little
John Cena left old girl. She always saying something. No
always
disrespect. Like, damn,
She's fucking
always
annoying. Go on.
like damn, double Karen, double mint twin Karens. Always saying something, bro.
double
Like, I
mint
know y'all
twin.
part of the like, I know y'all part of
Chill
the
out.
women's revolution and all that, but it's just like, dog. One of them, I can't tell the difference between. I'm sorry,
One has
I
a
don't
bigger
know the
chin.
twin.
That helps.
Okay, so whichever one got the Jay Leno chin longer, it's
The one
like
I was talking shit the closest to the
which one
camera.
was with Daniel? Which one married to Daniel
The
Bryan? I
prettier
don't want to
one.
Brie,
disrespect.
Brie.
They twins.
Bree's the prettier one. But
Listen. Like I said, the twin thing I can't tell. I can't tell the difference between Jay and Jimmy Uso. I don't understand how the twin thing work in life.
Not understanding
But
how the twin thing.
regardless, it's just like your husband is over there at a different company. He cooking right now. He shouldn't be. He should be sitting down. He one of my goats, but bro, sit down somewhere.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and then the other one married to Rico. That was with 3 minute warning.
Rico.
Rico is crazy.
Like, yeah, so it's like why y'all? It don't matter, bro. If the women ain't said nothing, so why it matter? They like, oh, we still getting paid? Bet. Best 5 minutes of my life. I still got paid to work 5 minutes. The American dream, ain't it?
The American.
Yeah, see,
That's a
my issue
fact.
with them is
That's
that they only care when it applies to them.
Right.
Like, they don't, in my personal opinion, ever really truly gave a fuck about women's wrestling. They just care when they were getting the gigs and they were getting like spin-offs and they were getting a lot of attention. I don't particularly, I honestly forget about them often. And I feel like you could wipe them off the face of, like women's wrestling. And I don't think there would be much of a change. I will go as far to say that AJ Lee in her short time there, she did way more work than in their. I think they debuted in like what 2008. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
actually start
I think
hustling
so.
and doing anything till what 20,
14.
pretty much. You know what I mean?
All they was doing is spinning around, showing them little asses. That was
And
it.
then they did Twin
I don't
Magic,
care
and then
about nothing.
nothing really came of it. And it just so happened that they became important when their stepfather banged the right person, and
Jeez.
then they started banging the right people.
I mean, you didn't have what Stephen A. Smith said. You didn't have to say
I
it. I
I
don't
mean,
mean,
you're
it's
not
care.
wrong.
right,
Like,
but you ain't gotta
All
say
right, but you didn't have
it.
to
I'm
say.
just saying, like, they just irritate me because, like, you didn't do anything. You didn't improve on your wrestling. I can't remember one good Bella Twin segment. I can't remember one time they elevated anyone. I can't
John
remember
Cena.
one time they elevated the belt. Again, things turned up when AJ Lee showed up, and that was it. That
Yeah,
was
the
it.
only time I've actually ever enjoyed them is on the show, the Diva show, because John Cena, hey, don't put that on my tile. I just got that. Wipe it off. No, we going out to eat. We ain't eating at the crib. I said, nah, this is why he might
He
go.
shut that
We
shit
ain't eating at this
down.
crib.
Everything went
Nah,
through an
we going to
NDA.
eat.
Nah,
Yeah,
not
nah. Hey, we either gonna get married or we gonna have some kids. You can't get both. I said, yeah, nah.
Imagine
Somebody
sitting
taught him
down
something.
and just getting like a whole textbook, and you guys sign all this shit just to, just
Yeah,
to live in a
somebody taught
guy's
him
house.
well.
And then you
I
never
don't know
got
who
the
taught
ring.
him.
Well, I mean, you got the ring, but you
Cena
didn't get the
knows.
second ring.
Yeah,
Cena got.
somebody taught him something. I don't know.
I feel like I
Oh,
know who taught
period.
him something. I'm gonna keep that for another conversation another day. But we're
Period.
gonna
Right.
move. We're gonna move on. So from New Japan, from not from New Japan, from WWE to New Japan. New Japan had their second night of Wrestle Kingdom 17. There was a lot of memorable matches, a lot of memorable moments, including a Jay Briscoe tribute where all the wrestlers from New Japan and I believe members of the Noah roster surrounded the ring with pictures of Jay Briscoe. Really, really nice. Really, really heartwarming stuff. However, it seems like the talk of the show was the incident between Okada and I don't want to mispronounce his name. I'm not even going to say his name. Okada was involved in an incident in a tag team match. Essentially, that his opponent kicked him in the face while he was applying a submission. That led to a no contest because they were brawling outside of the ring. Wanted to know your impressions of that incident and Wrestle Kingdom 17 overall.
Oh, that literally like took my whole attention. I was watching that shit in the gym, and like I couldn't tell because again, I don't watch like New Japan steadily. I know that they're known for stiff shots, but bruh, like he was over there in a hole, and then he hits him like a couple times, and he's just dealing with it. He's just dealing with it. He's just being a worker. Then like he legitimately kicked him in the face, and that look on like when he just looked down at his hand for a hot second, and he's like, "Yo, this motherfucker like fucked up." When he did that, I was like, "Oh shit." Like I didn't know. I didn't know if this was part of the show or not. But I'm like, security's not coming out, and the wrestlers inside the ring kind of stopped wrestling. And like you could tell that Okada was trying to dip back and forth between, all right, let me get my lick back, but then let's go back to the match because this is the biggest pay per view show of the year type of deal. But the other guy, his name, I'm not gonna say his name because I'm a botch it too. He just kept coming at him, and at some point, like the gloves were off, and they were like legitimately smacking the dog shit out of each other and kicking each other in the head, putting each other through barricades and tables. I was like, what is going on here? But again, like security wasn't stopping it, so I couldn't tell. I could not tell. But again, off of like context that I got from someone else, Okada had spoken down about this man in another interview, basically saying like, he's above him, that this guy doesn't mean shit to him, that like, why am I even wrestling this guy? And that guy, I guess, took it personally and just got his lick back and kicked him in the face. That was whoa. That was just whoa.
Mm.
And I'm surprised New Japan like let it go that far. Like I don't know how their guidelines work, but that's a pretty bold move to attack the biggest star. Like, can you imagine anyone in WWE attacking John Cena?
No,
No,
He
right?
fired.
Is this like a regular
off the
thing that
rip.
happens in Japan? Because again, I don't watch the show as attentively as someone like Banks, for example. So I was trying to actually see like what's your guys' take on this, and can you guys like offer any insight if you know any more about the situation? Any of you?
Yeah. So you're not supposed to do that in pro wrestling, period. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you potato me, I'm gonna send you a receipt, and it happens all the time. Not so much nowadays, just because we got a bunch of Chip and Dale dancers, in these promotions. But back in the day, if somebody were to, waffle you, you give them a receipt either now or later to let them know you can't hit me like that. So they were supposed to build up the program. Obviously, that was a work that Okada did when he originally said, "Yeah, he's below me," but it probably was a shoot now, seeing how everything went. But it's still supposed to be a build up for a match. But little dude took it, you know, personally, and that's why he was like, "All right, Okada," and he was no selling the kicks to the back. Like, all right, bro, let me put this hold on, let me sell a little bit. And it was premature for him to jump in the ring and start, kicking them. Like you could break the hold when it's a tag match, but he immediately wanted to break the hold. If you look, and the referee like, "Yo, chill out." So he wanted to break it ASAP. You like, dog, you got to let him work it, work the back like he was doing, and then pause, and then come in and try to break it up. But then when he kicked him in the face, I said, "Yeah, bro, that's not what you're supposed to do. I don't care if we in Timbuktu. I don't care if we in space. Don't kick me in the face." That rhyme, and I didn't mean to do that.
That's a
So
bar.
from there, they start fighting, like the Bad Girls Club, because that's all it was. It looked
Yeah,
like a
that's what I
little,
said too.
yeah, they a little tussle. You know what I mean? I'm used to seeing hands, but that was like a little, little Bad Girls Club type fight. Krishan was there. Dude definitely would have been obliterated. He probably would have been Falcon Punch. But
Yo,
if she
snuffed.
bites you, then you might get rabies. Yeah. Either way. Uh,
Would y'all like to
but
see
no,
Chris
that
Sharma in
that
WWE?
I
I would be down
Arkham
with that.
Asylum, WWE, yeah. Put them in
Arkham
her. Put her in Arkham
Asylum.
Asylum.
Arkham Asylum is
That's what
crazy.
she is. She a Batman villain.
A Batman villain is
Uh,
insane.
you're not supposed to be eating pizza like that, yo. It ain't no good pizza in the earth. All right, I love Chicago deep dish, but you don't see me up here going OD with everything, cheese and everything on
That
it. So
cough kills me every
Wildin'.
time.
yeah, that's all that. Hey man, Dr. Sebi would like to have a word with her. Send her to him. Anyhow, yeah, but nah, they went from there. They had their little tussle, as I called it. You know what I mean? The little, I guess that's how they fight over there. I was about to say something wild, but you know, you're not supposed to do that. So now they got a match. So everybody's about to be tuned into the match. I expect them to really, be stiffing each other. But at the same time, hey, bro, you got one good shot. He better than me. Like I said, you got one good shot on me, and after that, it ain't gonna be no tussle. I'm just gonna go for the knockout. I'm gonna warm the ribs up.
Mm.
That's
So wait, is
that's
this
a
like
Only
the
go
thought.
for the
first
ribs,
time?
kid.
I'm sorry, is this like the first time anyone ever had a shoot fight with Okada? Because I mean, he's up there.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, yeah.
I would imagine a
he
lot of
he's
wrestlers
a
envy him.
yeah. That's where it comes from. He's a John Cena over there. Arguably between 2014 and 16, he probably was the best in the world. Arguably.
Mm.
Hmm.
He's their Roman Reigns. He's their moneymaker. So but the New Japan, the owners are a bunch of British people, so they probably like, yeah, it's fine. But if it was the old Japan rules back in the day, yeah, that young boy would have been handled properly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jordan?
Now it's interesting. My bad. I didn't want to interject or interrupt, but I was gonna say it is interesting. There hasn't been something like this in wrestling, at least on this level. There was a WWE show. I think it was Great Balls of Fire, right? And it was the Fatal Four, not even the Fatal Four Way, or maybe it was a Fatal Four. It was one of these shows in like 2018 where Braun was going up against Brock, and then Braun like hit Brock too hard, and then Brock just like kneed him a couple times in the face and was like, slow down. And then
That
they
shit was
kept
funny.
going with the match.
Oh, that was a triple threat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I hate to cut you off, brother. That was at the triple threat at Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I thought it was a triple threat. I knew it wasn't the Fatal Four because I know the Fatal Four was at SummerSlam, but I knew it was like some type of
Yeah.
multi-man match. But you were good. You good. But like even that wasn't on the level of this. Because like you said, John, I mean, like Okada is their John Cena, is their Roman Reigns. So like there's never really been a point in time in New Japan or any wrestling company where a top star is involved in a full-blown shoot fight during a match and during technically still the biggest event of the year, right? Wrestle Kingdom is their WrestleMania. So it's like this is still their biggest event of the year. So I don't think anything like this has happened in New Japan. And to be honest, something like this hasn't really happened in pro wrestling, at least in recent memory. So I like when I saw the incident kind of unfold and occur, like I felt like that young boy went into business for himself. And he started just kind of taking things into his own hands because of what, some things that were said that may have hurt his ego. And I think Boy was out of line because we just saw Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay flesh out their personal feuds, but it wasn't on this level. It's like, all right, you give me your shots, I give you my shots, but we're still gonna do business. We're still gonna keep it professional in this ring and do what we got to do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that young boy was, in my opinion, that young boy was out of line, and Okada had every right to smoke him the way that he did because that's just not the time. You know what I'm saying? You handle that stuff backstage, or if you hit me with a shot, I'm gonna hit you with a shot, and then we're gonna keep it pushing. But like going into the ring unceremoniously, randomly, when it wasn't your time, and essentially advancing your own personal agenda. Mind you, it's a tag team match. So Okada has a partner that he has to work with, and that young boy had a partner that he had to work with. So it's like now you leaving those two wrestlers out for dead, and now you're tarnishing their names because you decided that you wanted to take matters into your own hands because you was hurt. I think that's whack to me. That's whack to me, and that's out of line. And
Yeah.
if I was Okada, I wouldn't even accept that match because I think that that match is going to be at a Noah event. Like, no, you come into my company during our biggest event of the year, and then you take matters into your own hands and you act out of line, and now you want me to have a match in your company. That's like a reward because like I'm drawing for your company now. So it's like why I don't know. Okada's way more generous than either Okada's way more generous than I could ever be, or somebody in Noah got some dirt on somebody in New Japan and they just got to make a deal work. But I wanted to
Well,
know if y'all had
you
anything else
you
to
you
say.
always do. Yeah, you always do the business for the company because that's what it's based on, the company and the fans. So you always got to do the business based on, what the owners tell you to do. So it's been plenty of times that people didn't want to do the job for Ultimate Warrior. And I know Kevin Nash in particular he told Vince McMahon, I should say, he said, well, if he can get one over on me, and Vince McMahon was like, what do you mean? Well, if he can actually beat me up, then he'll get put over. Otherwise, I'm not putting him over. So Okada in this instance will have to don't, bro. If it's me, I'm not doing the job because of what just took place. Now, prior to that, I probably would have did the job, even though it wouldn't make sense just because I'm Okada, but I still do the job. You can always do the favor for somebody. But now it's like, nah, I'm not doing the job for you. And then especially if I think you're gonna come in here and try to waff me a couple of times, then it's like, yeah. But you never do this. I don't care where you at. Once again, you never try to do this. Hell, if it was in the E, everybody would have been either fired or fined for that type of conduct. You don't do it, and like you said, it takes away from the whole tag match.
Well, do you think that New Japan thinks that this is a way to capitalize at all or not at all? Just because, I mean, in both shows, we had like, some shock factor things that happened. And this is, again, from what you guys just expressed to me, this is like the first time something like this had happened. Like, I think out of everything that was discussed from that show, besides the tribute that they did, and by the way, shout out to New Japan for putting out a tribute to Jay Briscoe, this was the biggest talking point of the night because who would be so bold as to hit a top star? And again, of all places, Japan. You know what I mean? So, do you think they just see this as like a money grab? Like, since it already happened and we let it go for so long on the show before we stopped it and they still have a match coming up, should we just milk it since now there's like that blurred line of like, was this a work? Was this not a work? You know what I mean? Fans love that. They love seeing like the blend of like, the real versus the fake. They love those mind
Mm-hmm.
games. So what do you think?
I think it's definitely a grab at this point, but you never need to do anything like this, especially them. They never done anything like this before because they don't really go on stories. Of course, the story is involved because you got to do a build up for a match. Obviously, we saw that with Jay White and Okada. We've seen that with Jay White and others. We see that with Tama Tonga and his build ups when he was talking about the OC. So, you always got to have a build up. It's pro wrestling. You got to have some type of story. But for this, now they're probably doing it as clout chasing to a certain degree, but the match was gonna happen anyway. It's just now this is involved, so it's gonna get people to watch. But again, if I'm one of the workers or specifically Okada, it's like, hey, bro, I'm gonna tell you one time, do not hit me. That's it. That's what it comes down to. It's like no matter what you do, it's just like if we was playing basketball. If you gonna hit me with the hard elbows, all right. When you come down this lane, I'm gonna put you on the floor. I'm gonna have a hard screen for you. So same rules apply. Same thing.
Oh, my bad. I didn't know if it was my if I was supposed to say anything. But I
This your
think
show,
Right?
Mr. Nahisi.
listen, so here's what I'll say, right? So I think that this is a grab for Noah. I don't think this is a grab for New Japan
Yeah.
because and ultimately I wouldn't be surprised if someone from Noah was like, "Hey, if you want to take it a little bit further, you can do that." Cuz now with this open format and open collaboration style of pro wrestling where companies are working with each other, it's one of those I give you one, you owe me one. So now it's one of those things where Noah is like, well, we allowed our top stars to do your WrestleMania, your Wrestle Kingdom. So now you got to let your top stars do stuff for us. So we're gonna book this match. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it would have been a grab for New Japan if it was building up towards another New Japan event. But because I think this is something pertaining to a Noah guy, I think that this is more so kind of like a Noah thing, if that makes sense. So that's just like the way that I see it. I think it's a Noah grab. I think if there's anybody that's going to benefit from this, it is Noah. Um, but I want to know what everybody else thinks of it. I want to know everybody else's opinions on it. Be sure to contribute. Talk to us. Let us know how you feel about the incident, and let us know if that young boy is out of line because I think he was. Anyway, so moving on from New Japan Pro Wrestling to AEW, Jay Briscoe finally got the tribute that he deserved last night on AEW Dynamite, where they were featuring vignettes of Jay Briscoe all throughout the show, and it culminated at the end of the night where Mark Briscoe uh, had a one-on-one match against Mark Briscoe. I mean, Jay Lethal had a match against Mark Briscoe, who is still a co-holder of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Um, I think Jay Lethal was considered uh, one of Jay Briscoe's best friends, and obviously Mark Briscoe was Jay's brother. Um, I just wanted to know your impressions of the match, your impressions of the moment, things that just tugged on your heart, if anything. Just wanted to know like your takeaway from the fact that Jay Briscoe finally got his tribute show. We were talking about it last week, and it finally kind of came to fruition. So, what did y'all feel about it?
Well, first off, I was very surprised that they ended up considering all the news that broke out as to why they refused to give him a memorial last week. I was actually very shocked and proud of the fact that they were able to like put those differences aside and like give him, the memorial that he deserved. Because I mean, like I said last week, he went out being a father. Like, how could you not reward this man with some form of a tribute? Like, he's a good person. I know that he did some fucked up things before, or he was just trying to play into his character. But he overall, from what I'm seeing, and like just the amount of visceral emotion that was just evoked from just last night, watching everyone literally cry about it, seeing everyone but seeing Jay Lethal and of course his brother Mark just like fighting through the match or fighting back tears the entire match. Like, he's trying to get all pepped up and he's trying to get into character, and like we're only getting like 30 to 40% of that because this man is hurt. Like, he's better than me because
Mm,
shit, I couldn't. I would have folded as soon as I came out holding two fucking tag team belts. That's where I started crying. The tribute already like made me like emotional, but when I saw him physically come out with two tag team belts, I folded and I started crying. I was like, bro, I couldn't. I could not. But I understood that he was not doing it for him. He's doing it to celebrate his brother's life. I mean, Jay Lethal didn't even try to hide it. He came out crying. You know, the match was a good match. It was just hard to watch just because like it's a sad moment, but I feel like it was needed. It was definitely needed. Um, yeah, man, it was a hard visual. I don't know how anyone could continue wrestling after just like such a loss, because you really identify with being with your brother as like a unit, and that was something that they took a soundbite of when it came to the video package, that they wanted
yeah.
to definitely go out being on top and being, like how much his brother meant to him. I'm like, I don't know how he could even get himself to continue doing this sport, you know, by himself. Not that he's incapable. It's not that he's incapable. It's just that, I mean, again, you literally did this with the purpose of beginning and ending this journey with each other. And it's so hard, man. I welted up. I cried a lot about it. I cried even when the show went off about it. It was a lot. Um, any parts of the tribute that you guys wanted to address or touch upon?
I haven't watched the show yet. I will after this. I'll just say this. God's timing is divine. A
Mm.
week before Jay passed, I was on this show and I was talking about the Briscoes. Because this hashtag good woman, great woman, I should say, want to talk about FTR. Who was that talking about? Was that you or Jordan talked about FTR?
Perhaps
No, that
me.
was you talking about FTR. Yeah,
That
because
was
I
me.
remember I said it's time to go in the kitchen. Uh, so
Anyways,
love you. So it's crazy for the past couple of months or years, but in the past year or so, I talked about the Briscoes. Came on the show. Week later, we got that unfortunate news on the Tuesday. Mark's birthday was 2 days later. And I think the day of the show, which was yesterday, day before, was Jay's birthday. See how God worked?
Mm.
And it's unfortunate how it works, but that's how it works. So for him to go out there, I didn't expect to see him for months, if ever, again after something like that happens. So for him to come out and do the match for his brother lets me know everything that we need to know. Shouts out to his wife too, being Jay's wife, who
Mm.
said, "Hey, I could be upset about what happened, but go ahead support this family." So it's a link tree out there. Just donate to the family
and you
who
can buy
was
the shirt.
involved in the accident as well. Yeah, so it's just like they raised a lot of money for Jay and his family because indie wrestling doesn't pay a lot, and obviously they have other business ventures. But now the breadwinner is gone, and people don't always consider that when the breadwinner is gone, who's gonna win that bread now? When you got a
Yeah.
wife and kids. But shouts out to the wife for living by that good mantra of we good Christian people and we actually mean it, and by them actually doing something to help the family out. So the family has some money raised as well. But
Mm.
overall, I still don't have, to be honest with y'all, I still don't have thoughts about it. It's been a week. I really don't have thoughts about it. Hell, I don't even talk about JDF being Jason David Frank, and that was in November.
Yeah.
So you know, I just appreciate them for going out. In the future, maybe I have thoughts, but knowing me, I know sell a lot of things, and that's how it works.
Good promo.
So I think when it
I do
comes
this.
down to this whole tribute, first off, we have to give credit where credit is due. Tony Khan apparently made a very big push for this to Warner Brothers Discovery, and we got to give him his credit because he could have easily just been like, "Oh, well, we can't do the tribute show, we can't do it." But he did his due diligence to make sure that Jay Briscoe got the tribute that he deserves on the prime time television slot that he deserves. And it says a lot about him. It says a lot about his character. It says a lot about what he wants AEW to stand for. For him to have a company that's very, very big on his show, it's probably guaranteed that they're going to sign in some form of TV extension with more money, and essentially those guys giving him a set of directives and saying, "Hey, we can't do this, we can't make it work," and he finding a way to make it work in spite of all of that. So I think that we need to give him his credit because it does take a lot of patience and perseverance and persistence to do what Tony Khan did. So that's one. The
Right.
second thing for me is, like you said, Jay Lethal came out there, and him and Sanjay Dutt came out there, and you could just tell it was just a different match. It was just a different vibe. It was just a different energy. They both came out with the Jay Briscoe shirts, which I definitely want to purchase. Um, and
Yeah.
then for some reason, you saw Jay Lethal get in the ring, and it was just like, okay. And then you heard that Reach for the Sky Boy, and it was just like, And it just like you didn't know how Mark Briscoe was going to walk out. And then you saw him just fired up with two belts. And it was just like, it was just a moment. And we always talk about pro wrestling and we talk about storytelling. Earlier, we talked about the bloodline. And over the course of the show, we've also talked about just other big stories. But we forget that pro wrestling is about moments. Moments, Undertaker said it earlier this week, moments define this industry. And that moment was something that is going to stay in the minds of a lot of wrestling fans for a lot of years to come. That image of him on the top rope only a week and change after his brother passed away, holding his belt and his brother's belt. And then at the end of the show, he's victorious. All of like a lot of Ring of Honor guys were on that stage. The Young Bucks, Samoa Joe, Adam Cole, were on that stage giving their support, all wearing, or at least most of them wearing that Jay Briscoe shirt. And you saw Mark at the end of the show holding up his belt and his brother's belt with RIP Jay Briscoe in the back. And once again, those moments just define wrestling and showcase the beauty of pro wrestling and showcase the beauty of the storytelling involved in pro wrestling. Um, it was very very emotional and it was very very heavy to the point where even if you weren't familiar with the Briscoe brothers, even if you weren't familiar with everything that was going on, you still felt it and it heavily resonated with you. And I just thought it was beautiful. The match itself, the match itself was the match. Great match. It's Mark Briscoe. It's Jay Lethal. Two of some of the best pro wrestlers we've seen in the past 20 years, tag team or singles wrestlers. So the match spoke for itself. And all throughout the match, you saw shades of Jay. You know what I mean? You saw shades of Jay Briscoe. And I think that was another thing that just like took a hold of me. And I just thought was really, really interesting and dope. But man, I feel at peace with everything that happened. It felt like a sense of closure because Jay Briscoe finally got that tribute. And I feel like because there was a moment of celebration of his life, I feel like, it allows the fans to grieve and be able to move on. You know what I mean? I'm really, really excited that that moment happened. So those are my thoughts and impressions on the match. Did y'all have anything that y'all wanted to add before we move on?
That was well said.
Uh, I'll say this real quick. For all the stuff they say about Tony Khan, him being a dweeb, and this is just not Tony Khan, just people in general. There's this society we live in right now. Uh, when you do something right or you do something good, nobody's saying nothing. But
Mm,
as soon as you do something else that people don't like, and even if you just made a mistake, or we all human, we gonna do certain stuff. We all do, what I mean, weird stuff, so to
hmm
speak. But when you make a mistake or you make a mental lapse or whatever you might do, that's when people want to jump on you. But for all the wrong that people say he do, whether it be booking or etc., picking all these wrestlers up, they ain't saying nothing about what he doing right now.
that's
They
a
ain't
fact.
saying nothing about the stuff that he tried to do for these workers. And that's just where we at in this society, specifically America today. So that's all I got to say about that. Am I defending anybody? Am I trying to get a job? No, I ain't like a lot of these dorks on Twitter trying to get a job with the E by defending somebody that probably has no clue who I am. But I'm just saying what's real.
Mm. Mo, you had something to say?
No, I mean I agree with exactly what he just said because I didn't see any praisal now that I think about it for Tony.
Yeah.
You know,
That's not what the internet is for. The internet not to praise people. The internet is make. We just talked about some weirdos earlier. You know
Hmm
what I
yeah,
mean? We just talked about the real Two Face.
Yeah.
So it's like when you
real
doing
two.
ignorant stuff, that's when everybody want to put you on all the social media platforms. Look at this. Look, 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 look. Especially in our culture, it's like look at this. But then when you do something right, it's like,
Yeah, people
does
tend
that
to
matter? So
just do that to make themselves feel better. I mean, Tony Khan's not
Yeah.
perfect, but I think that that was a very heroic move for him to do. Um,
Mm,
I mean, yeah, we wanted closure, but I think the people that mattered most about receiving closure was his brother and obviously the family of Jay Briscoe. Because again, it broke my heart that that little girl's at the hospital and she couldn't even at least watch like a memorial being done of her. her father for crying out loud because of something that was said years ago, which I feel like the internet needs to cut that shit out. Like
Mm.
people are growing and ever changing. You know what I mean? I feel like long as you want to take
Hmm.
accountability, because that's the point of cancel culture, correct? You're supposed to get canceled because people remind you, hey, the thing that you did some time ago was not a good thing, right? Isn't the point of trying to cancel you is so that you could learn from your experience and then try to be a better person? Then we accept you back with open arms. It's like you go into
Mm-hmm.
timeout. Did you learn your lesson? Okay, yeah, you can come out now and join the rest of us. They don't allow people to do that. And that's why I felt like was the situation that occurred with this network, which I thought was just very childish and petty. Because just like, all right, he said that comment, but in the grand scheme, what kind of person is he? And also, like again, look at the way that this man lost his life. It wasn't like he drug overdosed or whatnot. It wasn't like it was like a
Right.
fluke situation. He really went out going about his day, being a father, and you're going to withhold this because of something that was typed out from a few years ago when his mindset was a little bit different back then. Again, I don't know if he was playing into character or not, but his mindset was different then. He publicly apologized, acknowledged it, and then became a different person moving forward. I feel like the internet needs to kind of catch up with that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Not just the
Well,
internet, the
that's
whole world needs to
once
catch up
again,
with that.
that's you absolutely right. But once again, that's why you know the internet ain't real. Because the only time they cancel people is something from Twitter. It ain't something they said publicly. It ain't something they said at they work. And for the most part, hey, you can say whatever you want. Hey, bro, go ahead, clock in for me real quick. Yeah, you believe in all that stuff Kanye saying. Go ahead, clock in for me real quick. Make sure you move them boxes. And then the people that try to cancel you more times than not, or cancel whatever the case that is, it's like, all right, man, look, go ahead, start your shift too. Go ahead, flip them fries over, bro. That you up here on the internet talking about. And y'all people, this is a side note. Hold on, I'm sorry. We're gonna get to the show. All y'all that's been talking about all this dating Twitter stuff. Hey, I wish nothing but the worst for you. I'm sorry. You gotta let that hurt go. I want you to go ahead, pick them boxes up, and place them right there. Go ahead, put them over there. All right. Because listen, man, I just said
How
a
did we
lot of
get
wild
here?
stuff on podcasts. Still got to go clock in.
Lord,
I don't
Lord.
even have nothing
But
to
I mean,
say. Or you go ahead.
no, the part that I just want to touch upon real quick, going back to my point, is that I wonder if that's why they don't pay attention to us when we put up those hashtags for wrestling Twitter saying that this needs to change and this needs to change because I feel like they think that we're fickle and I think that they think that we're ungrateful and we just like to be mad all the time. I do wonder that, and I wonder that why that's why the show hasn't progressed because back then wrestling used to be like pivoted and go in the direction of the fans. Like, oh, the fans definitely like that. Let's do more of that. But when you refer to like their source of reactions, which is pretty much Twitter and Instagram or Facebook or whatever, everyone's just negative. Like the most like noise that the internet will ever make when you'll see like a hashtag going or whatnot is because it's something that is bad that we just diagnose. So I feel like they
Or
feel
somebody
like we're
lying.
hard to just
I
please. So why please them at all? Let's just fuck that. Let's do whatever makes us the most money and our stockholders the most money and whatever. You know what I mean?
or it's a lie. I ain't forget last week. That was not y'all, but that was y'all. That was y'all talking about Saudi bought the company. That was you. I ain't forget about that.
Was it me?
Not y'all here at Cultures
Oh,
316. No, I'm talking about y'all. You don't remember the
internet.
dude from out west, Chicago, that used to be like, that was you wearing the beanies. I remember that. That was you up in there. Yeah, that was y'all talking about the Saudis bought, and I don't even know you're supposed to say the Saudis, but them people with them AKs bought the WWE.
But I'm gonna
So
touch on one thing because one of y'all said something that was very very interesting. That's true, which is that a lot of people just complain about everything. They're not really. A lot of people aren't advocates for anything. They're just contrarians of everything, and
that
that's the
was the
reason.
more yellow one.
The more
Not,
yellow.
not the more yellow
Yeah,
one. Glacier Spice.
Get off
But
my neck.
yeah, that was one.
but but
Yeah,
a lot of people aren't really advocates of anything on the internet today. A lot of people aren't really advocates of anything. They're just contrarians against everything, and because of that, it's hard to take people seriously because it's like people get more of a kick out of complaining than they do solving the problem that they're complaining about. And on top of that, it just shows the world's attention span that you can advocate for something for 1 minute and the thing that you advocate for stays consistent and then you turn against it because it's this person is this, and this. And it's just like, but that's the reason why you wanted them to win or succeed is because of this, and this. Now you want to go against them for the same thing that they've been consistent for. So a lot of people aren't really advocates of anything. They're just contrarians against anything because people like to complain. Because when people complain, it adds character and nuance to their lives that they wouldn't have otherwise. But this could be a whole other podcast. But we're going to move on to the Royal Rumble. So this Saturday, January 28th, Royal Rumble 2023, coming live from San Antonio once again. Our first 316 space of the year. It's going down on the 28th. So y'all make sure that y'all are there. But we're going to go through these little match predictions real quick. So first match is Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight in the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Who do y'all got?
The fuck is a Mountain Dew Pitch Black match?
Listen.
A great match by a great beverage. Shouts out to Mountain Dew.
I'm weak. But who do you think is going to win that?
I don't care who it goes to be honest. I'm assuming they're still building up Bray Wyatt. I don't know.
He trick y'all.
Wait, what?
That's why they trying to build him up. He been back since October, man. Bray Wyatt trick y'all.
He hasn't done nothing.
At all. He trick people. He run around doing a bunch of nothing. He ain't even got the mannequin head no more.
Pretty much. Honestly, I mean, I want to see a little bit more about this LA Knight guy because everyone keeps hyping him up, and I don't really know nothing about him.
You don't know about LA Knight?
Really. Come on, how you not know about?
Yeah. You don't know. Second best talker in the business, if not number one.
I mean,
him and Ricky Starks.
Yes, Ricky Starks. But yeah, now I'm like, I want to understand why everyone likes him, so I want to see him do what he does. So I'm gonna go with him.
He could work, but if it was 1985, he'll be the champion. Or 1992, he'll be the champion right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He got the WWE look. That's the main thing. But he could talk.
Upper lip
you know
or bottom lip. What do you mean?
Who? Yeah. Him? I wouldn't know. I don't look at a grown man like that. All I know is when he
talks. It's just like a line.
Yeah, you know
what
I mean?
What does he look like without the beard?
Yeah, I don't look at a grown man like that. You feel me?
Same.
You'll notice it next like time.
Same.
No, I won't. I don't look at a grown man. You know what I mean? Though? Like, you know what I mean? Love who you love, but I don't look at no grown man like that. His eyes is parted. Do me.
Fair enough. Who do you got, Jordan?
So I think Bray Wyatt is going to win just because of the style of match. It seems like a cinematic style match. It seems like something that would be more up Bray Wyatt's alley. However, I do want LA Knight to win. I just think that he's immensely talented. Like Banks said, one of the best talkers in the business. I think you could have placed him anywhere. I feel like in any era, he could have been champion, whether it's the mid 80s, early 90s, definitely an attitude era style talker. He has shades of Rock and Austin in him. He could have been a champion in any era and in any company because he's just that good. LA Knight is really that guy and he's really that good. But because it seems like a cinematic style match, I'm going to go with Bray Wyatt because that is right up his alley. Moving on to the next match, though, we got Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair. Who y'all got in this one?
Sleep.
I'm gonna have to go with that. I'm not sure if I could power through. I love you, Binky. I really do. Like, a biggest Bianca Belair fucking mark out here. I can't sit through another Alexa match, especially pay-per-view length. That means double the drop kicks and locks. And I can't sit through that. And then and then for the last like couple Raws, they've been like doing nothing but movie references. Like they did a scary movie reference. It's just a bunch of bullshit after bullshit. I can't sit through it. I'm sorry. Like, I think she's trying to pitch an action career that's never gonna happen. I can't do it. Not even for Bianca. So, you know who I got.
Yeah, I don't care who. Again, Bray Wyatt trick y'all. I don't care about no Uncle Howdy. I don't know who that is. I thought it was Ernest. He came back for us. You feel me? Ernest comes back from the dead. That's what I thought it was at first. Yeah. I'm sorry if that was a bad joke. Anyhow, y'all don't know Ernest?
I don't know Ernest.
Y'all know Ernest go to space?
Nah.
Ernest plays basketball?
Never.
Age.
Hey, man. Y'all follow me at Pardon the Banks, because, yeah, I got to go. Y'all young, boy. Y'all Nothing about no Ernest. Y'all ain't had no imagination in shows when y'all was a kid. But anybody that's listening, like, subscribe here. Make sure you leave the comments and tell them who Ernest is. But yeah, no, I mean, she got frustrated when she was having a match with Sonya Deville. She definitely about to be frustrated. I seen Bianca Belair like, yo, get up, stop selling for so long, get up. She really about to go through a headache now. Even though Alexa's a tad bit better than Sonya, and that's not saying a lot.
Excuse me, how?
She had the title, right? That means she can at least do
she
something.
Can talk. That's why she has the title.
Okay, but she could work a little bit better too. You still gotta have some type of work credibility. Ultimate Warrior is one of the worst workers I ever seen in my life, if not the worst. He had the title because he could talk, but he still has some spots he can get done. I couldn't name you a Sonya Deville spot.
Okay,
I couldn't tell you one her moves.
What's her finisher?
You know what I mean?
So,
Sonya?
Yeah. I can't say it here though.
I just know that her theme song slaps.
Yeah, I can't say it.
But I got Bianca.
You know what I want to say too. I can't.
I got Bianca.
Hey, it's time for PTO, Bianca. I'm sorry, man. If old girl could take all them breaks that she was taking, Bianca Belair definitely could take some breaks.
That's a fact. We're gonna move on to the next match. We're gonna move on to the next match though. Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. Obviously, Sami Zayn's gonna be involved. Apparently, there's some
3
ultimate
times.
test.
Sorry to cut you off, Jordan. 3 times at a Royal Rumble. 2017, 2021, and then now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
No, Kevin Owens needs to win this. I like Roman Reigns. I love everything that he's doing, but I feel like there's so much more you could do with Kevin Owens. Like there's so much more you could do. Are you shaking your head? You don't agree?
Because he ain't gonna never lose them titles.
He needs to lose at least
one.
You
know why?
At least one.
We'll get to it with the Royal Rumble, but I'm telling y'all, he's not gonna lose them titles. He's gonna get a Bruno San Martino run, and then I'll tell you why when we get to the Rumble.
All right. Jordan.
I was gonna say, wait, Banks, who you got though? You got Roman. You just essentially said it. But
are you present?
You think he gonna lose to Canadian Bacon? I like Kevin Owens.
The fact you just call him Canadian Bacon is crazy. I got Roman Reigns. However, I am very, very interested to see how Sami Zayn plays a role in this ultimate test that they've been building up. But moving on to the 2 Rumbles, the Women's Rumble and the Men's Rumble. So, who do y'all got as going to be the woman who wins the Royal Rumble this year?
I still want Naomi to come back and win. That would be the only way you can make up for last year at all. I don't want to see any old timers, to be honest. I'm kind of over the old timers. They can bring back NXT people. That's fine. If you want to put in NXT people into the Rumble, that's fine. That's effective to me. But I think that the only surprise I give a damn about is Naomi coming back and Naomi winning her pay-per-view, because this is her pay-per-view. Like, it's so weird that like it's kind of like the Kofi effect. Like when you watch the Royal Rumble, you think, oh my gosh, what's Kofi going to do this time? You get the same excitement with Naomi, and she keeps putting on like star-studded performances. Like that whole thing that she had in 2021 with Bianca was fire. They need to run something back. I want to see a bunch of callbacks with Naomi, and I also want to see her come back as a heel. That would be great. I would love that, actually. So I want Naomi. And I feel like Cody has to win the Royal Rumble. That or he needs to be number 2 and he gets sabotaged. Just because they built him up with that video package, it would only make sense if they try to paint it out like he is going to win or like he is going to win. Like it's one or the other, but he has to be like last 2 people standing. I don't know who else besides Cody, because I mean, what are you gonna do? Run back something with Seth? Like I don't know who else would make sense. Seth already won a Royal Rumble, didn't he? Did he? Yes, no. I can't remember if he did. But yeah, no.
Nah, he never
my
did.
choice is Cody.
Mm-hmm.
If they give it to Seth, it'd be petty. Come like, go ahead.
Yeah. Banks, who you got for the Women's Rumble and for the Men's Rumble?
The women's probably Rhea Ripley by default. That's what I'm saying. It's like the women's one is by default. It's gonna be Rhea Ripley. I feel like you know, if Ronda Rousey wasn't so trash, then Bianca Belair could have came back and won it. Then we get that match that I want, which is Bianca versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. But
Hmm.
she was so trash that they had to hand the belt over. You feel me? But you know, I'm like I said, Monday they gave a little teaser. They ain't do that for no reason because they
No.
done that before on NXT, saying you don't even go here. So hey, let's see what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise than that, I don't know with the women's, the men's, it don't matter. Like, bruh, that's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's what I was about to say a couple minutes ago. If we have to keep figuring out, is it gonna be Sami Zayn? Is it gonna be Cody to beat or go against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? That means Roman Reigns is gonna go over at WrestleMania.
Hmm.
Because can you see either of them taking over Roman Reigns at this point? And they said months ago it's got to make sense and there's got to be somebody. Cody Rhodes is a draw, yes. He's probably the biggest babyface in E when he comes back, if it ain't Seth Rollins. But dog, he ain't taking no title off him. And this show ain't Sami Zayn. Like Sami Zayn taking off, that'd be a huge surprise. So I don't know. Whoever win, they're gonna go against Roman Reigns and probably lose. The only other person. Now I'm gonna say this, and then you know we ain't gonna stay here too long. Hey, bro, whoever started that rumor years ago about Dwayne coming back, this is why, hey, man, you can't trust nothing on Twitter as it relates to wrestling. Because
That.
whoever started that rumor, they started a rumor and said, oh, The Rock coming back. The Rock never said he was coming back. So people like, oh, The Rock ain't coming back. He never said he was going to come back.
Right.
Like, bro, it costs too much to bring him back, number one. And then number two, if I'm making $20 to $30 million a movie, you think I want to get in the ring and hurt my body when I did that already? For a match with Roman Reigns, so what? It could put him over? Nah, bro. I'm too much of a liability for the studio. So, and then there was another room that just came out that Stone Cold versus Roman Reigns happened. That ain't gonna happen. That'd be fire, but that ain't gonna happen. So, I don't know, man. Yeah,
That'd be
it's either
fire.
Cody or Sami Zayn. But either way, I ain't. You know, what I mean, I'm gonna be at the crib for Mania, but I ain't going anyway. Y'all gonna see me at Scared of Hoes events like
Scare the
GCW,
hoes.
ROH. Y'all not seeing me at no Mania, bro.
That scared of hoes is crazy. I agree with you though. As far as the women's rumble, I got Rhea Ripley. I think that her being asserted in a lot of these storylines where she's the most dominant in a group of men should show you how she's going to be presented in the women's rumble. So I definitely see her winning the women's rumble, and I feel like she's been owed a title match since SummerSlam. But obviously she was injured, so I feel like they're gonna make her win the rumble, and then she's gonna win the title at Mania. As
Hey,
Oh
far
wait,
as far as who
she
question.
could
wins,
put all the
Do
women.
y'all think that they're
huh?
gonna like ever use Rhea Ripley and pull like what they did with Naya and have her like interject into like the men's match?
I would
I
actually
mean, she
enjoy
could
that
put the
more than
men on her back and the women
I
Right?
wouldn't mind seeing that. I could see her doing that
physically.
actually.
I feel like they had to have her do that. They keep teasing that she's gonna fight a man. If I
And
could get like
she's
her
already
like
had an
receiving a
intergender
finisher,
match.
yeah. Sorry, y'all were
She's
gonna
already
say something before I cut you off.
You're good. Nah, I was just saying she's already been in an intergender match, so I wouldn't be surprised if she were to be in that position. Also, I think that it would just be entertaining. Like, imagine if she wins the women's rumble, comes back, and is like, and makes it to like the final four of the men's rumble. That would elevate her so much. You know what I mean? Like, she's not just top
Oh,
woman; she's
what if
like
she tags in
top of the
For
food.
Dom?
That I can actually see happening.
Like they jump
Or
Dom and
like,
she's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go in for him."
I
That's a
can
good
see
way to
that
set it up.
happening. I would love to see Ray jump Dom and then Ray goes in for Dom. That would be hilarious.
Yeah,
But as far
yeah, I could get with
as
that.
far as the men's rumble, I got Cody off the rip. I don't think they're doing all this teasing for him to just come second place. So that's my
WWE
girl
would do
for
that.
winning is Rhea, and my guy for winning is Cody.
Right. Triple H ain't forgot. That's the whole thing that people don't remember. I'm like, bro, people talking about no, he buried the hatchet. How you know? This dude was petty against Rene Dupree. How y'all
Oh, I
know?
forgot about that, man. Is that the one that came out with the poodle?
Yeah.
Not the
La
poodle.
Resistance. Shouts out to his
Rene
podcast too. He
Dupree.
actually has a
I
good
didn't even know
podcast.
that.
But
Yeah, I'll send it to y'all. But the thing is, he be having Paul London on there. It's fire, but it be 3.5 hours. I'm like, yo,
I can't do that.
I ain't got that much time in the day, big fella.
Mm-mm.
That's a fact. But
Great podcast though.
But anywho, that concludes episode 27 of the Culture 316 podcast. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hope you guys can join us for our first 316 space of the year for the Royal Rumble. Banks, thank you so much for coming by once again. Hopefully we see y'all Saturday. And if not, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good weekend, y'all.